Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of The Toy Shelf. I'm your host Mitch Live, and today we are talking about X-Men. What? Get that off the screen. Today we are talking about mutants. No, I get the... What? Please don't cancel us! MLVP Media, YouTube, and the entire crew here at The Toy Shelf would like everybody to know that we do not stand behind the egregious and tasteless humor that's been demonstrated in this cold opening. Mitch Live and the entire crew have undergone intense sensitivity training, and he will be returning to host the episode as soon as we play the theme song.
How do we know you're not just...
No, thank you. No more questions at this time. Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new episode of The Toy Shelf. I'm your host Mitch Live, and I collect action figures. And today, we are finally diving into one of my favorite toy lines, the Marvel Select toy line. Except, it's not really called the Marvel Select toy line, it's just the Marvel line from Diamond Select. But, the way they put the Marvel logo right on top of the Diamond Select logo, which is just a diamond with the word Select, and then the word Marvel, it clearly reads Marvel Select. That's what everybody calls them. So, Marvel Select. And since this is my biggest toy collection, we are going to break it down into multiple episodes, each one focusing on a specific Marvel franchise. And today we are starting with everybody's favorite group of misfit mutants, the X-Men. Oh yes. Recently, we've all underwent some severe sensitivity training, and we've learned that you can't refer to a whole group of people as men. That's just insensitive. And X, you can't just say X. That's offensive to the other 25 letters of the alphabet. Even the movie execs seem to have dropped the name X-Men in their movie titles. They just call it the New Mutants. But wait a minute, you can't call them mutants. They're persons with enhanced abilities from a little group known as the Letter People. Okay, we promise that's enough silly X-Men cancel culture jokes. Moving on to some figure reviews. Starting with everyone's favorite X-Men, Wolverine. Or Logan, if you really know him. This figure is designed to look specifically like Wolverine from the 90s animated series. Diamond Select does make a few alternates of Wolverine, including a depiction of him from the early comics, and they even do a live-action Hugh Jackman depiction. I see how it is, Diamond Select. You can't make one Professor X, but you can make a bunch of Wolverines? Damn you alternate versions! I've seen all the live-action movies, but as a kid growing up in the 90s, I grew to prefer the animated depiction of these characters, which is what most of my collection will consist of. Wolverine was the figure that started this collection, and I love this figure, but there are two issues I have with him. One is these incredibly weak ankle joints, and sometimes ankle joints wouldn't be so bad, except by the pose you could see that clearly him standing on his own very much depends on the strength of these ankle joints. Doesn't matter if I put a stand under him or not. And because he's fallen so many times, he's landed on his claws, which are really soft plastic, which kind of bend out of shape. And I keep trying to bend them back, but I'd almost prefer if they were a stiffer plastic and it was a clean break, because then I could at least glue them back in the same position. So he's kind of got some permanently bent claws and not always the most stable character. But otherwise, great figure. And the next of my favorites was probably gonna have to be Beast. Or Hank, if you guys are really tight. He's super intelligent, and he possesses primate-like strength and dexterity. He was born with his unique physical abilities, but it was his own experimentation that led to him being the blue fuzzy monster that we all know and love. My least favorite depiction of Beast is probably Beast from the X-Men First Class What? Right. I meant to say that I appreciate and respect all interpretations of this beloved character, and that everyone's opinion is equally valid. Next, we're gonna have a look at Cyclops. Cyclops is, of course, a very predominant member of the X-Men team. He's like, their charismatic leader. He's kind of like, the Captain America of the X-Men. He shoots lasers out of his eyes. That's right, I said eyes, plural. The Cyclops has 2 eyes. Maybe he should have stuck with just Scott. And he can't really control the lasers that come out of his eyes. That's why he wears this special visor, or in other depictions, a special pair of glasses. He was the very first of all the recruits to join Professor Xavier. You know, the one they don't make. The one the group is named after. This is actually the comic version of Cyclops. They look pretty similar, but he's missing like a yellow strap, and he doesn't wear a full hood in the show. He does come with an alternate head, which I guess would be a little closer to making him X-Men from the animated series. But again, the depiction is just closer to the comics. They make no movie versions, and they make no animated versions. Damn you again, alternate versions. Next we've got Storm. Storm is one member of the X-Men that you really don't want to mess with. She's like a god.
So if you'll all excuse me, I'm going out onto the sidewalk, I'm dropping to my knees and pledging my eternal soul to the thing that literally controls the f***ing weather.
And this is again not really animated series Storm because she wore all white. So she's more like the comic book version, but I got her because of a lack of options. But whatever, fine. I guess I can't keep complaining about them making alternate versions and then complain about them not making enough alternate versions. And she's also not much of a stander, and she doesn't come with the stand. This is one of my own stands, and I even have to put some sticky tack underneath the stand to even get her to stand on the stand. In fact, out of all the Diamond Select toys that I own, I'm talking like the Ghostbusters, Star Trek, Muppets, all the Marvel Select ones, it seems like the X-Men specifically are the worst figures for standing.
They are the worst. They are the worst figures for standing. I can't stand them. I can't fucking stand them. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that I can't stand them.
And next on the roster, we've got Rogue. Rogue, who is very appropriately named, was a rebel who started as a bad guy and then eventually teamed up with the X-Men. And this is definitely Rogue as depicted in the animated series. And believe it or not, she's not much of a stander. Her power is one that she has trouble controlling, similar to Scott, which is why she wears these yellow gloves. Her ability is to steal the power of any mutant that she makes physical contact with, whether she wants to or not. Do you remember physical contact, everybody? And clearly this figure is about to throw down because she's just removed one of her gloves and she's reaching out to steal somebody's powers. She comes with some alternate hands, she's got a couple fists, and you can have her with both hands out, wearing gloves, but I gotta say, the hands that she's wearing are super cool. They show her holding the glove that she just took off in her other hand. Just fine details like this. It shows that somebody really did think about, how somebody would want to play with or pose this figure. Top shelf Diamond Select. I haven't really touched on any of these parts yet, but pretty much all of these figures come with these panels that get put together to make sort of this diorama that you see here. Now, when I first started purchasing these figures and seeing that they came with pieces that clip together, and clearly some of them are meant to clip to other pieces, I thought surely this is going to be one of those purchase all the figures and get a really cool diorama. Kind of like the Ghostbusters rooftop. I thought I'd get a really nice set piece out of it. Then I started to realize that some of the pieces were actually just identical to each other, and while some of them formed together to make like a nice corner piece like this, most of them are just kind of plain, interchangeable backdrops, and they don't actually form anything. But I do a pretty good job when I set them up on my shelf of making it kind of look like something, and I think it's supposed to be their training facility. All the weapons that you see, they're not really for defense or anything. They're just to train the mutants to dodge attacks and do whatever it is they do to train, I guess. So overall, I'll say that is one kind of missed opportunity for Diamond Select with this figure series. Next, we've got Gambit. Gambit is, of course, the card-throwing champion of the universe. His actual ability is to transfer huge amounts of volatile energy into inanimate objects, and he just likes throwing cards, I guess. He is definitely a fan favorite, and I think he's the animated version. The comic and the animated version, from what I remember, are actually pretty close. He's got a pretty consistent design. Definitely not the movie version. And I'm pretty sure that this is the only Gambit that Diamond Select makes. I really like how in this figure line, when they want to show energy attacks, you get this kind of translucent purple, or in some cases a pinky purple, plastic mold, which does a really good job of mimicking how their energy attacks are animated in the series. Gambit comes with a few other odds and ends here. We've got some different poses for his hands. One that looks like it could maybe meant to hold this card. Come on. Gambit also doesn't like to stand. Some alternate hands and a few other throwing cards, also with the glowing purple energy. Very nice. It's a very nice. The hand that he currently has on looks like it's meant to hold one of these things and make it so that he's throwing the cards, but I actually had to shove a little bit of sticky tack inside of his hand to get this thing to even stay there in the first place. Oh yeah, and he also comes with his stick, his staff, his attacky weapon thing. What do you call this thing? They gotta have a name for it. Huh, okay. He also comes with a bow staff. And next, let's have a look at Psylocke. I just dropped her on her face, I'm sorry. You can do it. Yes! Psylocke also doesn't like to stand. This is another figure that uses a lot of energy attacks, and the accessories that she comes with, again, do a good job of depicting that energy attack. This is her using her telekinetic powers. So she has telekinetic powers, and she also possessed the body of a samurai. So she's a warrior who also has telekinetic power. It's not important. Actually, we just did a full unboxing and review of this figure over on our mini-series, That New Toy Smell. And if you want to see more of Psylocke and get a closer look at this figure, you'll have to just check that out at the end of this episode. I've got a couple other well-known X-Men here who don't like to stand. But if you want to have a look at these guys, you're going to have to subscribe and keep checking back and wait for our Deadpool episode. Because this figure line is kind of big, this episode's running a little long, and Deadpool's going to be lonely otherwise. So come on back for our Deadpool episode because they just happen to be featured in Deadpool 2. We'll do a whole theme thing. So, make sure to subscribe and join us. Join us. Join us. Join us. Join us. Join us.
Join us!
But we do have one more very important figure to look at today, the series' main antagonist, the one and only Magneto. And Magneto doesn't like to stand. Magneto. Anyway, Magneto is a former colleague of Professor Xavier, and I just can't believe they don't make a Professor X. You know what? Hold on, I've got a solution. Yeah, this is Professor X, hero to mutants everywhere and one of the most powerful psychics to ever exist. And of course, he is the founder and leader of the X-Men. So obviously, this is just Captain Jean-Luc Picard from my Star Trek series, but he's at least to the same scale, and as I'm sure we all know, Patrick Stewart did play Professor X in the movies, so this is as close as I'm gonna get. It just so happens that we also did a full unboxing and review of this Jean-Luc Picard with command chair figure over on That New Toy Smell. So if you're a Trekkie like me, make sure to check that out as well. See if maybe you can help him stand, huh? I'm just gonna hold him. So Magneto and Xavier are both activists for mutant kind everywhere. They just have very differing opinions on morals. Xavier wants everybody to be treated equally, and Magneto wants to end all the normies. Magneto's power is that he can control magnetic fields around him, so he's able to manipulate any metal with magnetic properties. His own armor is made of metal, so he can essentially just lift himself right off the ground and fly around. There is, I think, a no-helmet variation of this figure by Diamond Select, and there's most definitely a zombie Magneto alternate of this figure, which is from a very specific comic line where a bunch of notable Marvel characters, they all get infected with this disease, and it makes them zombie-like, flesh-eating people. It's not important. They just wanted to make you buy more figures. Damn you, alternate versions! I would call my X-Men collection complete if I could just even get one version of each character, but there's still a few notable ones I'm missing. They make Sabretooth and Colossus, and they make a comic version of Jean Grey, and they even make her evil self, the Dark Phoenix. Although I think they just call her Phoenix. But for now, this is it for my X-Men Diamond Select collection. And this brings us to the end of another episode, but it's just the beginning of our dive into the Marvel Select toy line. As always, there will be links in the description below that you can follow to purchase your own X-Men from Diamond Select Toys. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also check out the unboxing and review of Captain Picard and Psylocke over on our channel. Just like, click here, or look down there, or maybe in suggested videos over there. Just go to our channel. Thanks again for hanging out with us on the Toy Shelf, and remember, you're never too old to play with toys.
Whooshing. Ching, 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 ching.
I'm going to steal your power.
How do we know you're not just Mitch Live, wearing a suit and glasses? Is there really even such thing as off-camera Mike? Can you tell us what was with the facehugger back in the Angus Young episode? How do you respond to other allegations of insensitivity? What does happen when you click the bell icon?